My favorite podcast has ended its run this week. In the span of 4 years, I would always look forward to it. It started on another podcast when someone mentioned that it was about music. So I went to go check what it was about, and it was a retrospective look at the 90s. Not just that decade, but what it meant in the music itself. Some music that I used to love, and some that I just learned about. But now it's over. Now, what do I have to look forward to? I have a lineup of professional podcasts and indie podcasts that I listen throughout the week. And that one was one of my favorites. That one was, without a doubt, that I knew was going to appear on the Spotify Wrapped when they got around to it. So and so have listened to this podcast and these other podcasts. Top five. I'm obviously going to go back to the very first episode, listen to it in its entirety again, and maybe that host will come back and do another podcast. But for now, it's not about saying goodbye to it. It's more like what it made me feel and how it made me, so to speak. Do you get me? Do you get what I'm saying? I guess podcasts now are the new TV series, whereas to you, I guess podcasts now are the new TV series, whereas you had to wait a few months for the TV series that you loved to come back from hiatus or another season. But for podcasts, if it's doing good, you know it's coming back. They even tell you they're taking a break. Nowadays, you have to look at their social media to know if they're coming back or not, to know if they're okay, to know if something had happened. For a TV series, you have to wait a few months. But if it was something you loved and it got canceled, the day is ruined for you. The day is ruined for me. You start to look at social media again and find out the reason for its cancellation and even go into Facebook groups or start a group discussion of your own and get other like-minded fans to come along. That's now. That's how we feel now. Imagine what it was like for the people before the internet. Before you could find out if your show got canceled, before you found out who was joining your favorite show, before you could find out if there are other people like you that share the same views as you about that show. Do you like that show also? Let's be friends. Why don't you like about that season? Let's be friends. You don't like that character? Me neither. Let's be friends. Let me tell you my favorite shows that I enjoyed watching. This is going to be small. This is going to be a small thing. I know I'm going to have to start another episode, another podcast, and list all my favorite shows. But I don't have time for that on this episode. What I do have time is to list a few of my favorite shows. Either they ended their run or got canceled, or worse yet, they jumped the shark by killing off a main character. It happens. It happens everywhere. Let's start this list off. Let's start off with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Debuted March 10th, 1997, ended its run on May 10th, 2003. I can pinpoint the exact time this was getting canceled. I for sure thought after season 5 and the episode The Wish, where Buffy sacrifices herself for her sister, would be the end of it. But instead, it comes back for season 6 and later 7 on another network. And then everyone finds out during season 7 on the magazine, in an interview with Sarah Michelle Gellar, that season 7 would be its last. We get it. The show had ended its course, and there are no more stories to tell until later years when it gets continued in comic book form. It was expected. What fans didn't expect, however, is when the WB pulled the plug on Buffy spin-off series Angel. Angel, October 5th, 1999 to May 19th, 2004. Oh boy, where on February 14th, 2004, the WB network announced that Angel would not be brought back for a sixth season. The one paragraph statement indicated that the news, which had been reported by an internet site the previous day, had been leaked well before the network intended to make its announcement. Joss Whedon, creator of both Buffy and Angel, posted a message on a popular fan site, The Bronze Beta, in which he expressed his dismay and surprise, saying he was heartbroken and described the situation as healthy guy falls dead from heart attack. Sure. Fan reaction was to organize letter writing campaigns, online petitions, blood and food drives, advertisement in trade magazines, and via mobile billboards, and attempts to lobby other networks. UPN was a favorite target as it had already picked up Buffy. Outrage for the cancellation focused on Jordan Levin, WB's head of entertainment. It was the second highest rated program to be canceled on the WB. Writer and producer David Fury guarantees that if Joss Whedon hadn't requested an early renewal, Angel would have been back for a season 6. He says the only reason that Angel didn't come back is very simple, saying, because our ratings were up because of our critical attention. Joss specifically asked Jordan Levin, who was the head of the WB at the time, to give us an early pickup because every year they would wait so long to give Angel a pickup, and a lot of us would turn down jobs hoping that Angel will continue. Joss didn't want that to happen, so he was feeling very confident, and Joss just asked Jordan, like, make your decision now whether you're going to pick us up or not. And Jordan, sort of with his hands tied behind his back, with his back up against the wall, called him the next day and said, okay, we're canceling you. Jordan's no longer there, and the WB has since recognized, I believe Garth Ansher, as the WB said, that it was a big mistake to cancel Angel. There's a power play that happened that just didn't fall out of the way they wanted it to. We wanted to get an early pickup. We didn't. In fact, we forced them to make a decision, and with his hand forced, Levin made that decision to cancel us. I guarantee that if we waited as we normally did, by the time May had come around, they would have picked up Angel. I can guarantee that. As fans, we knew we were headed to the final episodes, though. The races. We were headed to the races, so to speak, when Joss Whedon was attached as the director on the 15th episode of the season, A Hole in the World. When one of the most wholesome and favorite characters on the show, on the series, Fred, dies and is infected as a demon that stays throughout the remainder of the show, she is no longer our Fred. She is now a demon. Next up, the OC from August 5th, 2003 to February 22nd, 2007. Okay. Okay. So, this one hits home for me because I'm from California originally. And I was in love. I was in love with the show. I loved the show. I tried to go back though. I tried to go back to watch season one earlier, like a few days ago, but it's too problematic for me. I'll watch it, but it's like, damn it, I missed the drama. The OC made indie rock a main focus of the series, and it's also its marketing plan, releasing 6 soundtracks throughout the series. In the second season, a fictional new nightclub and concert venue called the Bait Shop was introduced. Bands including the Walkmen, the Killers, Modest Mouse, the Thrills, Rachel Yamagata, Death Cab for Cutie, and the Subways all made guest appearances on the show performing at the venue. But I get it. I get that it has 4 seasons. But to me right here, you know why? You know what happened? Do you know what happened at the end of season 3? It ended for me. It ended. I talked earlier about how a show dies when a character dies. Well, spoiler alert to whoever hasn't seen it yet. I'm sorry, I'm gonna just ruin it right here and there. When Marissa Cooper, main character since episode 1, since episode 1. Dies. Get killed. So did everything I believed of this show. I died along with it. Creator of the show, Josh Schwartz, said in 2023 that Marissa died in the third season because many online fans by then disliked her storyline, and the network wanted to kill a main character to increase ratings. Okay, kill Rachel. No, I'm kidding. We needed Rachel. The night that the show aired, we heard from a whole other swath of the audience that loved the show, watched every week, didn't feel the need to log into a forum to analyze it. For a lot of people, Marissa was the character they were watching for. Misha Barton was the actress they found the most exciting, and Ryan and Marissa were endgame. They truly were. That was my endgame. We violated that in one fell swoop. It's now part of the legacy of the show. We've had to accept it. They accepted it. I did it. I hated it. I didn't even want to watch season 4. Due to its low ratings, there was rumor that the show would not return for a 5th season. Told you. In June 2006, Fox confirmed that the current order for the OC is 16 episodes, but added that there were a chance to add more installments. In September 2006, Rachel Bilson said that she felt like the show is over, and co-star Kelly Rowland stated that many of the cast realized that the show was close to being canceled. Rowan said that when the 4th season was picked up for just 16 episodes this year, the cast had a feeling the end was near. On January 3rd, 2007, Fox announced that the OC was to be canceled. In a statement, Schwartz said, "This feels like the best time to bring the show to its close," adding that what a better time to go out and creatively on top. Fox launched an official campaign on their website called Save the OC. You know, because Save the Cheerleaders, Save the World was big at the time. So why not just save the OC? Which garnered over 740,000 signatures. There were rumors that the show would be saved by the CW. The CW president, Don Ostrov, confirmed in January 2007 that while the move was discussed, it was decided against. And finally, to end this segment to a close, 60 songs that had played in the 90s, October 2020 through March 2024. One of my favorite podcasts had run its course. Ended this week. It debuted in October 2020. I learned about this podcast from writer Strong, Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World, who co-hosts a podcast with Danielle Fishel and Will Friedle called Pod Meets World. Y'all should check it out. A podcast about their time on Boy Meets World. Writer, one episode chatted Bob Harvey out and this podcast and how it should be a sister show to their podcast. So I went to go check it out, and I fell in love with it. The host, Rob Harbilla, senior staff writer at The Ringer. He's been a professional rock critic for 20 plus years, with stops at the Village Voice, Spin, Deadspin, and other various alternative weeklies that generally no longer exist. That's what it says on here, by the way. Not his fault. This is his trailer for the podcast.
The goal? Explain the 1990s in exactly 60 songs. Radiohead, Tupac, Mariah Carey, Lauryn Hill, Wonderwall, Enter Sandman, You Oughta Know, Cream. The greater goal? Move past cheap nostalgia to something deeper and weirder and better. My name is Rob Harvilla. I'm a music critic at The Ringer, and my new show is called, indeed, 60 Songs That Explain the 90s. Since that title is fairly self-explanatory, I figured I'd explain what qualifies me to host this. Here is my resume. In 1992, I won a trophy for wearing more corduroy and flannel than any other 13-year-old in America. Freshman year of college, I was in a third-wave ska band that broke up and reformed without me as an emo band. I nearly started a civil war at my college radio station by putting You Got Me by The Roots in heavy rotation. I cried the first time I heard Bjork's Hyper Ballad, which incidentally occurred somewhere between the ska band and the emo band. One time I wrote out the lyrics to Sunny Day Real Estate's In Circles by hand and mailed them to a girl. All of those are true except the first one. This is my perspective, Crucially, in every episode, I'll be joined by fellow writers, critics, musicians, enthusiasts, and ringer luminaries with wildly different perspectives. Whether you're full of teenage angst, or you feel bored and old, whether you don't know the song at all or you know it far too well, we'll take you through the decade, one killer track at a time. 60 Songs That Explain the 90s is released every Thursday. Listen for free on Spotify.
You're probably asking why did it take him 4 years to talk about 60 songs that explain the 90s? Well, it didn't. Somewhere along episode 50 or 53 or 54, people wanted more songs. I wanted more songs because how are you going to not include Eminem or Garth Brooks or Michael Jackson or Reba? The list went on and on with fans and his colleagues alike. Well, his list went from 60 songs to then 90. He kept the train running for another 30 songs. What the hell, why not? Up until the point he got to episode 90, again, fans wanted more. He wanted more. I wanted more. The 90 became 120 episodes. He said he would be done at 120 episodes. And maybe he is, or maybe he isn't. But on March 13th, he went to Twitter and said this: the 120th and final episode of 60 Songs That Explain the 90s is on Semisonic's closing time. And I maybe get a little emo about it. Many thanks, plus apologies, to Yassi Salik for gracefully handling a conversation that basically starts with me asking, why do we do this? This show will be back later this year in an exciting and beguiling new form, but for now, I'm eternally grateful to my day one producer, editor, guru, Dox Ellis, who always lets me cook, and the eternally patient Jonathan Kerma, and his noble predecessors, Isaac Lee and Deb Ma. Eternal thanks also to each and every guest for their wisdom, patience with my evolving interview skills. God bless. Sean Fennessy, Bill Simmons, and the whole Ringer crew. I couldn't do this without them in various extremely literal ways. And finally, thank you so much to everyone for listening, for your very delightful DMs and emails, for your helpful pronunciation corrections, for making a bizarre plus scary plus lonely span of 4 years feel a little less so. Thank you. Truly. The show will be back, and I'm not dying or anything. I am just, as previously mentioned, very emo. Also, I wrote a book, also called 60 Songs That Explain the 90s, that I definitely should have mentioned earlier, but Market really threw me off my game. I, as a longtime fan, wanted to thank Rob Harvilla from the bottom of my heart for taking me back while listening to these 90s classic songs. So I tweeted at him, I feel like this is closure. I was inspired by these episodes from start to finish. I will miss 30 minutes of cold open monologue and then intros that had nothing to do with the songs, and then the songs and interviews. I'm going to start again from the first episode. Thank you. And yes, he inspired me, a small podcaster. The way I do my episodes, the way I talk, the way I edit. Rob Harvilla, although he doesn't know who the hell I am, inspired a podcaster who didn't quit and continued to make content no matter what everyone thought of him. Rob Harvilla is, and always will be, him. Welcome back, Father's Behavior Squad. This is an extremely important thing I have to tell you tonight. That this is episode 146. And I'm Evo. And of course, we're coming to you from under the apron. Nothing else. No, nothing new. let's just get right into the whole why we're here. For those that are new, this is a recap and review episode of the TV series Glow on Netflix, a show about the gorgeous ladies of wrestling that was set in the 80s. At times, I will have bits and trivia here and there with additional interviews from the creators, directors, or stars of the show throughout the years. All in all, it makes for an awesome episode. If you haven't yet watched Glow, I suggest you do so and follow along as I recap and tell you what I saw in the episode. And if you haven't yet, check out episode 123, where I talk about the first season and pilot episode of Glow, if you want to go back and listen. This is season 2, episode 8 of Glow on Netflix, The Good Twin, directed by Mira Menon. She is an Indian American director, writer, and editor. Her feature directorial debut, Fair Goes Bang, screened at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2013 and was awarded the inaugural Nora Ephron Prize by Tribeca and Vogue. She has also directed 2 episodes of Outlander, 4 episodes of For All Mankind, 2 episodes of Love, and so far 2 episodes of the 2022 Marvel series, Miss Marvel. Written by the team of Nick Jones and Rachel Schuchert. Nick, who wrote Season 1, Episode 3, The Wrath of Kuntar, Season 1, Episode 8, Maybe It's All the Disco, Season 2, Episode 2, Candy of the Year, and Rachel, who wrote Season 1, Episode 5, Debbie Does Something, Season 1, Episode 7, Live Studio Audience, Season 1, Episode 9, The Liberal Chokehold, Season 1, Episode 10, Money's in the Chase, Season 2, Episode 5, People Are Perverts Too. Damn. They're a pretty good team. They're pretty good writers. Synopsis is the moment you've been waiting for, a straight to the airwaves episode of Glow, complete with a dream sequence, music videos, and epic wrestling. Warning, please do not take this episode serious as the show within the show aspect. It just feels like how the original Glow felt at the time. It's the show. It's just a show. The show starts with no music. The cold opens. The KDB TV. The show starts with no music. The cold open is the KDTV logo with an aerial view of North Hollywood, California. A voice says, "You are watching KDTV, the premier cable channel of the San Fernando Valley." The scene switches to show the USSR flag, and below are the words, "Potatograd, Prosarab, Oblast, USSR." After a phone is heard ringing and a woman hobbles over to the old-timey phone to pick it up, a split screen of Ruth dressed as Zoya is on the left side with a 1980s modern wired telephone. She's sitting on a bed of a hotel room smoking a cigarette. Ruth is also on the right side of the split screen in a Russian accent says hello. Left side, Ruth says, "Olga, it is Zoya, your identical twin sister." Olga, excited to hear her sister's voice, says, "Oh, hello. I'm sorry it takes so long to answer phone. As you know, I have severely deformed foot. It was mangled by agriculture conveyor belt in childhood and has never fully recovered." There is audience laughter in the background now. Watching Glow, there was audience laughter. Hinting at a sitcom. It is a sitcom. It is a funny show. Soya says, "Yes, I know it's only discernible difference between us, except now there is one more. I have small child." Olga excitedly asks if she has given birth. Soya says, "Of course, niet. She is frigid and barren like Siberian tundra." Olga says she recalls that it was a cruel nickname of hers in high school, Siberian tundra. Zoya yells at Olga to shut up and then explains that she has kidnapped the small daughter of great American rival Liberty Bell and she is holding her at fortress guarded by evil minion. Her plan is to indoctrinate her into Marxist thought and sell her to highest bidder. She asks Olga to help find the motivated buyer and she will split the money with her. Goodbye. Zoya hangs up. Olga hangs up the phone and says that was her sister, Zoya. Russell is sitting in front of her with a weird hair wig that makes him look like an old Russian man. He asks what did she say. Olga explains to Russian Russell that Zoya has kidnapped child of great American rival Liberty Bell. Now she wants her help to sell her, but as everyone knows, she is the good twin, and she has decided she will help Liberty Bell retrieve lost child and foil sister's evil plot. She must board the next goat for America. Russian Russell asked if she means boat. Olga clarifies that she's made of rubbles. She only has money for goat journey. Russian Russell looks into the camera like a winking nod. The audience laughs again. Bash's voice is heard from the Hayward Hotel in Los Angeles, California. It's Glow, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. Bash runs down the matches. It's science versus magic as Britannica squares up against Black Magic. And the main event, Liberty Bell search for her daughter leads her straight into a death match with Vicky Viking. All this and more on Glow, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. They show the intro everyone worked on at the beginning of the season, which also caused Reggie to get fired. I love the color scheme at the beginning, and it's going to show every time Olga comes onto the screen. Zoya is in America, so it's colorful and upbeat, and Olga is more dark and somber colors, kind of cold, kind of like a cold war. Okay. I don't think anyone caught, but I did, and I might edit this into the IMDb site under the trivia in the Did You Know section. At the start of the show, when they showed the USSR flag and underneath it reading Potatograd, Prozorov, Oblast, USSR, Potatograd is just fictional in this universe, has nothing to do with anything. It's the other words, Prozorov referring to a play called The Three Sisters by the Russian author and playwright Anton Chekhov. It was written in 1900 and first performed in 1901 at the Moscow Art Theater. The play is often included on the short list of Chekhov's outstanding plays, along with The Cherry Orchard, The Seagull, and The Uncle Vanya. This play, The Three Sisters, is about three sisters, obviously Irina, Masha, and Olga Prasarab. This makes sense, and it was probably Ruth's idea to include this play into the mix to explain why she is in a leg cast and finish out the rest of the story. When Zoya tells Olga she plans to indoctrinate Liberty Bell's daughter into Marxist thought and sell her highest bidder, Zoya wants to traffic and turn the little girl into a communist by having her work at such a young age. The 80s were wild. Back to the segment. Olga says, "Here we goat." She puts two blankets on top of a goat as the audience laughs. America or bust. She points at America with her crutch. We see a map in the background with a goat as a guide where Olga travels from Potatograd to the Great Wall of China, right into a background of Egypt and the pyramids, but the map says Brussels. She makes it to New York on the goat. Apparently goats can swim like boats. Goat, boat. And finally makes it to Hollywood, California. Olga and her goat are sitting outside a diner near the gym that you saw in season 1 when we were first introduced to them. Olga yells, "Hollywood, what a country!" as she's wearing the Statue of Liberty crown and a Beachbody shirt. She has two plates of cheeseburgers and fries on the table and on the chair. One is for her and the other for the goat, who seems to be eating the lettuce. She tells the goat, "For the first time, you can eat a hamburger without committing cannibalism, and we have tickets to Cats." Broadway. She knows it's touring production, but what do you expect? She listens to the goat saying that she is forgetting true purpose here. Olga agrees with the goat. She must find Liberty Bell and tell her she knows where small daughter is, and goat must see Cats alone. The show does an optical flip. In the next segment, we are right in Britannica's Science Adventure Lab. The mannequin that she's been carrying is on the operating table. She says, "All right, that should do it. Now I just need to turn the power on, and soon our conversation will not be so one sided. For you will have life, my darling." She laughs maniacally and says, "From the life of plastic to hunk of man." She pulls a lever and the electricity cackles. After a few seconds, she checks on Thomas, the mannequin, asks if it's alive yet. The audience laugh. She begins to cry, saying she doesn't understand. "It worked on the rubber chicken." A woman is heard laughing loudly and appears with smoke. Britannica asks who she is and how did she get in the lab. The woman says she is black magic and she has come to help. She says she can take the queen out of mannequins and leave her with a tasty man, but it will cost her something. Britannica asks what it will cost her. Black Magic says her brain as we hear more thunder from the outside. Britannica says she needs her brain for work. Black Magic yells at her not if she has a man to take care of her. She leans in closer and tells her how to let her turn Thomas real and forget all of Britannica's ambitions. Britannica says she's been lonely, so give her a minute to think it over. Black Magic says Black Magic says to think while she goes to the restroom and disappears. Okay. Bash's robot that got water poured on him through earlier in season one appears and tells Britannica it's a bad idea. Britannica says, "Don't worry, Globot. She would never give up her smarts, not even for Thomas. At least not before backing her brain on a floppy disk." She says she would tie a string around her finger to remind herself to reinstall her old intelligence, and she should be ready to go. The toilet flushes and Black Magic back from the restroom asks if she's made her decision. Britannica says yes, she can have her brain. Anything for love. Black Magic tells her that her priorities are in the right place. Black Magic does a chanting spell and the mannequin warm this man so that he feels that he must pay for meals. He'll open jars and help with chores, and Britannica will be single nevermore. Globot has the words danger written across the screen. The thunder roars, and she disappears as Thomas comes alive, played by Bash. He sits up and tells Britannica that yes, it's him, now and forever, darling. We get a lip song montage of them going on dates with vocals from both Britannica and Bash, Thomas, whatever. They are seen horseback riding in the park, having a picnic. Thomas, head sitting on Brit's lap while he's telling her something, kite flying and watching the hills. Britannica tells Thomas he makes her so happy that she don't remember what life was like before she met him. Thomas says he doesn't either, literally. He doesn't remember anything before 2 hours ago. He asks what's the string around her finger. She thinks it's an engagement string and thinks Thomas was going to propose. The scene ends in the shape of a heart as they kiss.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Dawn.
And if you've ever watched a TV show and thought to yourself, oh my god, that season finale plot twist was absolutely bonkers.
Or seen a movie and thought, wow, I need to talk to somebody about this train wreck immediately.
Then we think you'll fit right in with our podcast, I Hate It, Let's Watch It. We watch TV shows like Riverdale and Emily in Paris.
And movies like Deep Water, Killer Sofa, Rubber, and Deadly Illusions. And we give them the total rinsing they deserve.
It's basically group therapy for movie masochists. So come check us out wherever you stream podcasts.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Next segment, Griefer Size with Liberty Bell. The color of the words Griefer Size with Liberty Bell are in red, white, and blue. Obviously, it's a parody of the Jane Fonda workout videos that were released throughout the 80s. Liberty Bell, still with no daughter, is leading a workout routine alongside Melrose, Junk Chain, and Machu Picchu in the back. Liberty Bell, still grieving in pain that her daughter is missing, tells the girls to do high knees while sweating those sorrows away. That's what Griefer Size is all about. Whatever is bothering you, just let it go. Melrose cries that size 7.5 is always the first size to go in any shoe sale. Junk Chain cries that they canceled Charles in Charge. Oh no. Liberty tells that that is terrible and she is mourning the loss of her daughter, Savannah Rose, her poor missing baby. Machu Picchu asks if Liberty Bell is okay, to which she answers no. Machu Picchu asks if Liberty Bell is okay, to which she answers and yells no, but cool down. The camera catches her face in agony. Going back to Junk Chain, little thing there, Charles in Charge getting canceled. Charles in Charge premiered on October 3rd, 1984 and was canceled after 22 episodes, which last aired on April 3rd, 1985. 1 year later, after seeing the success of some canceled network, series after they were revived for first run syndication, which is a significant trend at the time. Universal decided to rework and relaunch Charles in Charge in syndication. The show premiered on local stations at the midway point of the 1986-87 season, with the first episode of the new series premiering on January 3rd, 1987. Four seasons were produced for syndication, with the last episode airing on November 10th, 1990. In total, 126 episodes were produced, 22 in the abbreviated first season and 26 in each of the syndicated seasons. When the show returned in 1987, only Scott Baio and Willie Ames returned from the original cast, as the producers reworked the story to accommodate the changes in cast. So Junk Chain will probably be happy again in the next few years. Hey, Charles in Charge is back. Alright, next segment. Liberty Bell is taking a shower and still crying. Ominous music begins to play as the point of view is from the outside the shower. A little psycho um, parody here. With the reference with the silhouette of a hand on the door of the shower. Outside, a hairy man's hand extends and opens the door. Liberty Bell screams, which makes Olga scream as well. The audience laugh. It was the hand of Olga. She had a hairy man's hand. Liberty Bell covers her body and asks Olga, "What is she doing here?" Olga says she comes to have private conversation in the shower and then realizes Liberty Bell still thinks Olga is Zoya. She introduces herself as Olga, her good twin. "We are identical, except she has foot deformity. Regard," she points down. Liberty Bell looks down and gasps. Oh my god, it's terrible. She asks, what does she want? Olga says she wants for help rescue small baby Savannah Rose. Zoya keeps her fortress guarded by minions up tall hill. Too tall for her to climb with her deformity, but she can go to there and bring her little daughter back home to bosom, which she points at Liberty Bell's breast. Liberty Bell asks why she should trust her. Olga explains, well, many years ago in Soviet Union, Zoya's golden child, Comrade Brezhnev himself says she is a great example of Soviet womanhood since Nadezhda Chizova, female Olympic shot put champion. They show an image of her at the 1976 Olympics. Fanfare plays. The audience laugh as Liberty Bell still don't know who she is. Olga continues, all her life she has hated her for this, but also she loves America, democracy, Coca-Cola, Walter Disney, and Mickey Rourke. Ooga! A little ooga for Mickey Rourke, who at the time was in the Year of the Dragon. Google that. Mickey Rourke in 1985. That's why she's saying ooga. Not Mickey Rourke now. She continues, some motivation is ideological as well. Liberty Bell says she can't thank her enough, and after she returns her daughter safely, she's going to reward Olga by giving her money for an operation to fix her foot. Olga's surprised at such a thing as possible. She yells, America, God bless you, what a country, haha. Olga just gave us a backstory to Zoya's past 10 years prior. She's referring to Comrade Brezhnev, who was Leonid Brezhnev, General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, who passed away in 1982, and then Shizova, who retired in 1977 after placing second in the 1976 Olympics. Somewhere between the 70s and 80s, Zoya was standing on business and becoming a legendary wrestler in Soviet Russia. Olga's use of "what a country" is an homage to Russian comedian Yakov Smirnov, who began his career as a stand-up comedian in the Soviet Union, then immigrated to the United States in 1977. He reached his biggest success in the mid to late 1880s, appearing in the film Moscow on the Hudson with Robin Williams. And possibly next year in 1986, Olga will be saying the phrase so much when "What a Country" debuts on TV screens. What a country. Next segment, GTV logo appears, which looked like the 80s MTV logo. It's a music video starring Melrose and the Girls, and the video is titled Makeover from the Grand Slam Volume 1 album, and it was directed by Bash Howard Productions. It's weird. The girls sing Makeover and how they want to attend a nightclub, but they can't because they're in their wrestling gear, so they go back home to change to something much more Madonna-ish. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna be let inside a nightclub if you're still in Okay. Shout out to the original Globe wrestler Melody Trouble Vixen, MTV, who was played by Eileen O'Hara, who they based Melrose off of, including the whole GTV skit. Okay, so I just described the whole video, so why not tell you what MTV is doing now? Eileen put out a podcast in 2020 titled Wrestling with Your Best Friend. And here's what it was about: an eclectic mix of special guest wrestlers, Reiki masters, and experts candidly share their experiences and their quest for truth. Together, we explore what it takes to create a world where we experience the kindness and respect we all deserve, beginning with our best friend, ourselves. Are you up for the challenge? Unfortunately, she only had 7 episodes before it disappeared, but here's her trailer.
I'm Eileen O'Hara. I'm a Reiki practitioner, a light and energy worker, and a citizen of Earth. I'm also
the queen of rock and roll, Melody Trouble Vixen, MTV!
a notorious bad guy from My life is anything but dull. I've had a lot of adventures, and like everyone else, I'm struggling to get through these strange times. So I'm challenging you to become your own best friend. Like any relationship, it takes work. So let's step into the ring and have some fun. This is Wrestling with Your Best Friend.
Next segment, we're back in Britannica's science lab. She is just standing around smiling. Lisa, played by Justine, walks in with her schoolwork and introduces herself as the teenager who lives next door and was wondering if Brit could help with her quadratic equations. Britannica realizes why Lisa's having so much trouble. There are no pictures in the book and it's full of math. Lisa asks if she's feeling okay. Britannica says she's never been better because she has a man now. Thomas is in his robe and smoking a cigarette, muttering, "He didn't know they were expecting company." Lisa assumes something is wrong and asks what's on Brit's finger. Britannica explains it's her engagement ring. She's waiting for Thomas to propose. Lisa explains that people tie strings around their finger when they want to remember to do something. She asks Britannica what is it that she's forgetting to do. Globot appears with a floppy disk, but holding it the wrong way, which would erase the disk if the whole scene was real. Don't hold the disk the wrong way, or else you're going to delete all the files, basically, is what I'm saying. Lisa claims that Globot is trying to tell them something. She grabs the disk from Globot and misreads it as Britannica's Brian. The audience laughs, and then cheers when Britannica realizes that it's her brain that's on the floppy disk. But she has to figure out how to get it back up there. She immediately inserts it from underneath her miniskirt. Ooh. After a few seconds of moaning and laughing and Thomas eyeing the situation, she remembers the quadratic equation as she explains and hangs on to Lisa. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. She says she's back and the organ plays loudly. Black Magic appears again and says this was not the deal. She was supposed to sacrifice something precious. That is how Black Magic works, and that is why not everybody be doing it. Thomas gets up from his chair and says, "Ladies, ladies, ladies, enough with the yapping." Black Magic turns Thomas back into a mannequin. Britannica cries to turn him back into a man. Black Magic says if she wants him back, she is going to have to fight for him. Optical flip again, and we are in the ring. Bash says it's science versus magic. Britannica fighting for the man she loves. Black Magic fighting because she's horrible and mean. Keith, the referee, tells them both he wants a good, clean match. No funny business, especially Black Magic, who points at her baggies of sorcery. Black Magic says she is serious and circles the ring with Brit. Black Magic takes off her earrings and throws them outside. Britannica walks over and arm drags her. Bash says it's a strong start for Britannica, attacking with her usual scientific precision. Black Magic gets up and runs after Brit, but she hits a clothesline, which Bash orders for a replay of the basic-looking clothesline. Britannica smashes Black Magic's face into the turnbuckle. Bash says it's going well for this British genius, and it looks like she's getting a turnbuckle sandwich times 2. Britannica must really love Thomas. Bash winks at the camera and continues. Britannica gives Thomas the mannequin a smooch as Black Magic is scheming in the corner of the ring. She rips out the mannequin's arm and uses it as a club to hit Britannica. Bash says, talk about using your friends against you. Britannica taking a whooping. Keith, the ref, tells Black Magic she cannot use foreign objects. Black Magic blows some sort of powder into Keith's face. Bash yells that she enchanted the ref. He thinks he's a kitten. Keith goes to the corner of the ring and meows and plays with the turnbuckles. Black Magic blows more enchantment powder on Britannica, seems to be used under some kind of a sleep spell. Bash says Black Magic is taking her time to teach the scientist a lesson. She places Britt between her legs. She rolls her eyes back. Yes, like the Undertaker. She yells, lift Britannica over her back, and then slams her face first on the mat. Bash says this can only end badly. Britannica is down, but there's no way to give the count. The ref still thinks he's a kitten. This is heartbreaking. She really loved Thomas. It just goes to show a good mannequin is hard to find. Akin. He needed to rhyme that. Before the segment ends, Britannica is seen outside the ring trying to gather all the broken pieces together and putting his broken palm on her chin.
Movies and feelings. Pop, pop. Bring Your Own Popcorn is a podcast that dives into people and the movies who love them. Let us preach to your choir or stoke your ire as we spiral down memory lane with cult classics, Jurassics, and other genres that rhyme with traffic. What we lack in education, we make up for with comedy, compassion, and camaraderie. I'm your host, Mixtape Majesty, inviting you to join me and an assortment of wonderful guests on fine podcast apps everywhere. Bring your own popcorn.
Hey, it's Evo. We're going to get back to the episode you're listening to, but first, let me tell you about Dark Fate Creations. Dark Fate Creations are candles that are vibrant, colorful, marble tops, amazing, mouth-watering fragrances, fueled by lovely braided cotton wicks. Paper threads woven into every cotton wick for a clean, romantic, slow, and consistent burn. Each candle is unique from the next as they are hand-mixed and hand-poured right in Grass Valley, California. They use only coconut and soy waxes for a safer, cleaner, and longer burn time. That's almost 72 hours. That's like binging on all 130 episodes of the podcast. All fragrance blends have been heavily researched. Dark Fate Creations not only care about the look, fragrance, and quality of their candles and their other products, but also the effects they have in their customers' homes. So go to darkfatecreations.com. The link will be in the show notes.
Are you looking for a new podcast? Or maybe you just love celebrity interviews and can't get enough of them? On the Tis Yourself podcast, the Todd, aka Rob Maschio from Scrubs, told me about his first time speaking to a group of surgeons.
And I was just like, listen, guys, when in doubt, the Todd's prescription for everything is less moaning, more boning.
Or you want to find out more about how Joe Exotic had such a vendetta against Carol Baskin when she had this to say about him.
Because I'd never even spoken to Joe.
Find out all of this and more on the Tis Yourself podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Next segments are commercials. One of them is from Howard Foods. A can of Howard O's is shown, which is a parody of SpaghettiOs. Bash is doing the voiceover work, and he says, Howard O's, more O, less no, and now with new caliente flavor. Olay. Because, you know. Next commercial reminding us to watch Quilting Be Easy on KDTV on Thursdays at 4:30. Remember, life may be hard, but quilting be easy. Next commercial is Tammy sitting on her throne asking the audience if you miss Welfare Queen beating up everyone in the ring. Well, now you can take your very own Welfare Queen doll home. limited edition for only $19.99. Optical flip, and suddenly you see the doll moving by herself and beating up a can of cola and yelling, there can, hey there can, get out of my way. And then says, I pity the fool. Yeah, someone's gonna have a lawsuit. Tammy says, call now, the queen is waiting. I think that's the end of commercials, but then the next segment is Machu Picchu. Britannica, junk chain, and railroads are sitting by the pool enjoying their tan when Machu says she don't like lying on their backs while Liberty Bell is out there daughterless. Melrose explains that you have to turn over once every 15 minutes to get an even tan, which Britannica does, and sits sideways. Machu says that's not what she meant. They have to do something, and she knows exactly how she can help. Another music video. This time it's everyone singing a part. This song is about kidnapping with the opening words like, yesterday on the way home from school, a child disappeared. Why? Stuff like this keeps happening. I think it's really weird. Don't these kidnappers know that kidnapping is wrong? They're making people sad. Oh boy. They are all doing a PSA song about kidnapping and how wrong it is, even begging the kidnappers just let the children run in place. And the ones they got to let them get away. Sweet, sweet Christmas. Phil, one of the cameramen from the past season, is seen playing the guitar, and Sheila is on the organ, piano, whatever you want to call it, yet again. Debbie joins in the chorus while grieving with her facial features doing some sort of cringe look. Junk Chain gets a solo and she sings, every time I get milk for my cereal, there's a face on the carton looking at me. It's hard to enjoy my cereal wondering if that child will ever be free. Can't have cereal while a poor child is staring back at me. Oh my god. Britannica hugs Junk Chain while she sings her part. That's why the buddy system is so important if you don't want to get napped. Oh goodness. Melrose chimes and warns the kids that when a strange man offers you candy, it's probably a trash. This while Liberty Bell is in the background jumping up and down. The chorus comes back again, this time with the rest of the Glow Girls, including Zoya, who's on crutches, standing right behind Liberty Bell. It's a PSA with both faces and heels. One of the Yellowstone twins, probably Stacy, sings in her unique voice. They don't have money to pay for ransom. We see Sheila again with the dark glasses playing the piano and singing along. The chorus gets louder. Sam and Bash enter the scene with long gray trench coats because they look like the kidnappers, and they join along with the chorus. Sam looks over at Bash, who is wearing a fake creepy mustache and gyrating his hips. They finally quietly sing the chorus, and some are holding their headphones while the girls in the front are holding each other's hands. Then we see the ad and a number to call to get your limited edition song by sending 95 cents for a record or cassette, plus $4.95 shipping and handling at Don't Kidnap, P.O. Box 15700 in Van Nuys, California 91404. Please allow 3 to 4 weeks delivery, money back guarantee. 1985. Can anybody guess why this was a thing? Can anybody guess why? I'll tell you why. Soon after the British group Band Aid released Do They Know It's Christmas, in December of 1984, the musician and activist Harry Belafonte decided to create an American benefit single for African famine relief. With the fundraiser, Ken Cragen, he enlisted several musicians. Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie completed the writing the night before the first recording session. On January 21st, 1985, the event brought together some of the era's best-known musicians. Also, it happened immediately after the American Music Awards. So some of these people, some of these artists musicians were performing that night, and then they had to perform here also. We Are the World was released on March 7, 1985, the first single from the album by Columbia Records. It topped music charts throughout the world and became the fastest-selling U.S. pop single in history. We Are the World was certified quadruple platinum, becoming the first single to be certified multi-platinum. Its awards include 4 Grammy Awards, 1 American Music Award, and a People's Choice Award. There's a movie on Netflix right now called The Greatest Night in Pop, and it's a documentary of the making of We Are the World. The whole thing with Stacy doing some sort of yelling and not with the same vibe as the other girls. That's an homage or a parody, depending on who you ask, of Cyndi Lauper doing her own thing with her voice. You can clearly see Michael Jackson in his dark sunglasses just the same way Sheila was wearing them. Next segment, Sheila holding a Playbill copy of Cats on Broadway. She says she was expecting a lot more and there wasn't a single real cat in the show. They're just people in costumes, obviously. Sheila, obviously. The audience laughed when the camera pans over to see who she's talking to. It's the goat. It's the goat. It's the goat. It's the goat Olga came with from Potato Grab. She tells the goat, "You're right. It might have been tough to get real cats, but it's still fake advertising, false advertising, fake advertising. Whatever, it's the same thing." Sheila gets the goat no drink because the goat asked for it. Sheila can speak goat. A few seconds later, the scene changes clockwise, and Sheila's taking the goat to her hotel room, laughing along and saying, "He is Mr. Mistopheles, not her. She's more of a rum tugger." These are characters from Cats. She places the rope down and tells the goat to make himself comfortable, and she doesn't do this very often. She asks the goat if he likes sports. The audience laughs and the goat's fake hoop starts touching Sheila. She says, "Oh, hello." "Well, that's very forward." She pushes his hoof away and tells him, "This is moving a little fast for me, but maybe we should just call it a night." Fake hoof touches Sheila's boob and the audience gasps as she yells, "Sir, I asked you to leave." Another fake hoof touches the other boob and Sheila yells, "Sir, unhoof me." She gets up from the bed and tells the goat she is his natural predator. Do not make her do something they both will regret, to which she wags her finger at him. The fake hoof tries to touch her finger and she says, "This is your final warning, do not touch me." The goat doesn't listen and the scene changes clockwise again to reveal Sheila laying in bed eating the goat's leg. The audience laugh and the camera zooms in on Sheila saying, "I warned him." Sheila mentioned the two characters from Cats, Mr. Mistopheles, who is a character in T.S. Eliot's 1939 poetry book, Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats, and in its 1981 musical adaptation, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats, described by Eliot as being the original conjuring cat who is always deceiving you into believing he's only hunting for mice. Rum Tum Tugger is a rebellious and unappeasable cat. He loves the limelight, while at the same time enjoys being as an individual by separating himself a little from the tribe. And that's what she is. That's what Sheila is. She separates herself from the girls to become her own person. Next segment, Liberty Bell's walking around the forest with a machete, chopping down bushes or trees or whatever is in front of her. She hears the voice of a little girl saying, "Mommy, Mommy, help me." Oh boy. Horror movie enthusiasts will recognize that voice. Recording of the slain child actress Heather O'Rourke from the 1982 film Poltergeist. They're here. Hey, the little girl yells that she's in the evil fortress. Liberty Bell yells, Savannah Rose, Mommy's coming." Mummy? I'm doing a UK accent? No, I'm not. "Mommy's coming." The scene changes to the entrance of the evil fortress, both Beirut and Fortune Cookie guarding the entrance with spears. Beirut says, "The view from this evil fortress is just spectacular." Fortune Cookie madly yells, "We are not here for the view. We are here to guard American Girl Child. That is our only job. I have to go to the restroom." Fortune Cookie walks away because, you have to go to the restroom while guarding precious American Girl Child. She walks away, leaving Beirut to guard the entrance by herself, but she yawns and says the air is thin out here in the mountains. They're up in the mountains. She closes her eyes, and we are in a dream sequence as her inner thoughts say, "I didn't always want to be a terrorist. Once, I wanted to be a dancer." Ballroom music begins to play, and Artie is wearing a long white dress as she dances around. Yolanda appears in a tuxedo, takes her hand, and dances along with her. They smile at each other. After a few minutes, Fortune Cookie's voice kicks in and wakes her up. Beirut says she blinked. It was just one long blink. Fortune Cookie looks on the ground at the colorful confetti because how else would you know your evil fortune got intruded than by having red, white, and blue confetti near the entrance? Liberty Bell dramatically clutches the walls, the voice recording still saying, "Mommy, help!" Hope didn't get through. You know, what? Why? Heather O'Rourke, I would like to apologize to the family of Heather O'Rourke of, you know, using that voice. My goodness. Liberty Bell says Mommy is coming in. Then we see a close up on Vicky a Viking. She's back in the middle of the glow ring holding a voicemail recorder. Still playing it. Mommy, help! Oh. Okay. Vicky asks Liberty Bell if she's looking for that, and the voice comes from the recorder. The entire set. The lights turn on and focus on Liberty Bell, who's standing on the balcony near Sam's office and yells at Vicky to tell her where her daughter is. Vicky says, "Don't worry, she's in a safe, in an actual safe with air holes, and I'll give you the combination to the lock if you defeat me in the ring." The lights turn on, revealing the actual ring, and she laughs maniacally. Optical flip, and we're in a match with fans and Bash announcing that Vicky's blowing the horn of war. That means this match will be to the death, and here comes Liberty Bell, wasting no time. Liberty Bell punches Vicky in the stomach, and she doesn't feel a thing. Liberty asks why isn't it working. Vicky pushes Liberty's face and knocks her down. Keith, the ref, checks in on both wrestlers. Bash says Vicky set the course for destruction. Vicky picks up Liberty over her shoulder and slams her down again. Vicky whips Liberty to the ropes, and as Liberty comes back, Vicky tries to hit a clothesline, but Liberty ducks and grabs Vicky in a crucifix. Bash says it seems the tables have turned. Vicky backs up to the corner turnbuckle and yells at the crowd that she's going to Viking badge her. Bronco Buster, maybe? You know, anyway. But Liberty puts her leg up to kick Vicky in the stomach to stop the move from happening, which sends her back and hits the referee, which then knocks him out of the ring. We all know where this is going. Fortune Cookie and Bear Ruth both slide into the ring and help Vicky beat down Liberty Bell, who pulls a large picture out of her daughter from her costume and shows it to the camera saying it's her baby, and that this is the only picture she has of her. Vicky takes the picture from Liberty and tears it up in front of her face, while both Fortune Cookie and Bear Ruth are holding her down. Liberty Bell gets out of the grasp of Beirut and Fortune, bumping them together. The power of a mother's love strength as she goes after Vicky. Bash says the bad girls topple like a house of cards. Liberty chokes Vicky's neck on the ring ropes and asks for a combination to the safe. Vicky tells her the 6-number combination. 1-1-1-1-1-2. Keith calls for the match, and the winner being Liberty by just getting the combination number. That's weird. Liberty Bell looks at the camera and tells Savannah Rose to hold on. She's coming for her because there's a TV screen on in the safe, and Savannah Rose is watching. She gets out of the ring, and then we see her in the locker room, opening a locker with the word safe attached to it. She opens the safe, and Savannah Rose's little body comes out hugging Liberty Bell, saying she misses her mommy. Liberty Bell says, "I miss you too, baby girl. That promise I'll never let anyone lock you in a safe ever again." Hope not. Hope not. There have been too many ridiculous matches throughout the years, but this seems more of this has happened before, and in wrestling itself. So there have been nightsticks on a pole match, a manager hanging on a cage above the ring while two wrestlers fight each other, and let's not forget Judy Bagwell in a forklift match. It was the dying days of WCW. Buff Bagwell was supposed to win his match against Chris Kanyon if he wants to secure the safety of his mother. But the most ridiculous one of all, which I've seen and reminded me of this match, was none other than on August 21, 2005 at SummerSlam. Rey Mysterio battled legendary wrestler Eddie Guerrero in the ladder match to win custody of Dominic Mysterio. Yes, for the non-wrestling fans. Look at it this way. If Kid's future was hanging in the balance, who was he going to go home with that night? His loving dad or his father's former best friend and former tag team partner, a man who he would call uncle, a man who he would admire? His father won that night in 2005, though. 18 years later, however, they would revive that storyline back where now an adult Dominic wishes his would-be uncle Eddie Guerrero had won that match so he wouldn't have to call Ray his dad because to him he was a deadbeat who was never there for him after that night. Oh, soap opera, man, soap opera. Um, yes, Liberty Bell doing the same thing. Yes, if Zoya was okay. Yes, Liberty Bell doing the same thing. Yes, if Zoya was okay to wrestle, how long would this feud have lasted? Maybe a few more matches, like Ruth said. Let her chase. And final segment. Olga's on the operating table. She says all the things I will do with new foot once deformity is no longer. Dance, have pedicures, find able-bodied Oliver paging Mr. Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke back in the 80s. Hot as hell. She laughed as well as the audience laughed. Meanwhile, we don't see the doctor's face, but we see the nurse who is being played by Justine. Olga continues. This operation is simple. This thing I have always wanted is freedom, like finally going to Moscow, except it's actually happening. And also, already been to Moscow. The doctor turns around saying, and also we only two sisters, not three sisters. Not like the little story says, but two sisters. She takes off her surgical mask, revealing to be Zoya. Olga's surprised and Zoya pushes her back on the table, saying, "Do svidaniya," or goodbye in Russian. While both Justine and Zoya are zoomed in from Olga's point of view. The camera pans back, revealing a TV. Someone's watching the show. And a man says, "See, Rosalie? I told you. It's Justine. I mean, she's dressed as a nurse, but it's definitely her." The show says to be continued. The camera focuses on the two people on the couch. Rosalie leans in and curses. The words on the TV screen changes to directed by Sam Sylvia, which Rosalie is shocked to read that name, and the episode ends there. So we got to go back to the end of the last season. Justine revealing to Sam that she's his daughter because he was in Sacramento at a Black Panther rally and got kicked out, went to a bar and went home with a Rosalie Biaggi. At the start of the season, when Justine is living with Sam, she tells him she can't go back home because she don't want to live with Rosalie anymore. Now here we have Rosalie, played by veteran actress Annabella Sciorra, who played Detective Carolyn Barrack for 12 episodes of Law and Order: Criminal Intent. Episode 9 is titled Rosalie, so there will be some type of backstory about her, maybe. I haven't seen this show in a while, so I'm guessing here. For those wondering, this is how the original Glow operated. Yes, it was just cheesy and ridiculous and cringe. The Kidnapper song reminded me of an episode where they were trying to find Little Egypt, and they did a whole song for her. Even the girl who was feuding with her. And in a blink and you'll miss it part, there's Little Egypt singing as well in the background with them. But then you don't see her again after that. It was just like a little tiny thing they did. They messed up. Either they messed up or they did it on purpose. However, on this show, you can understand the words coming from the girls on the song. On the original show, it sounded like cats were fighting with each other, and some of the girls were out of sync during the rap. This episode was exactly like the original show, complete with the wrestlers doing commercials, PSAs, and singing along. Ruth, as both Olga and Zoya, may have saved the show. Since her ankle was broken due to Debbie being on coke, they probably asked Ruth to write the story, to which she said this whole thing. How about a good twin with a messed up foot comes to America, helps Liberty Bell rescue her daughter, and then we can bring back Vicky even though Sam fired her and promised her the main event on possibly the last show? Your call. Alright, that's going to do it for me for this episode. We will be back next week with another episode review of Glow on Netflix. As always, follow us on our socials, support us from Under the Apron on Instagram, the Threads, YouTube, apron_stories on the Twitter. Follow me and join my live streams on TikTok at Evolution of a Geek, where you also find me doing the unedited version of the podcast that will then be posted on YouTube. Listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or any other outlet you can listen to podcasts on. More info on the links where you can listen or watch in the show notes. Don't forget to rate us and leave us a review. And if you feel you want a little bit more, support us on TikTok, Evolution of a Geek, by subscribing, join the Fatherless Behavior Squad, and show up to live and to watch show up to the live stream to watch, and I will shout you out at the end of every episode. Like, yes, I know I've messed it up, but here, let's keep going. Menace Smiling Rabbit, Lil Linguini, Forever Jane, Brandy, Kimmy, Miniature Mommy, Age of Shadow 666, Tender Surrender, Just Eve 75, Squirrely Bree, Sandra Woodbury, Quick Draw, Mary Brewster, Daniel Ryan Pohus, Forever Miss Dawn, Melinda Gonzalez 429, Aaron Mosher, Liana Rubel, Bunny06, Half Size Heather, Lisa, Toasted Bagel, Moth Queen, sorry Moth, sorry, Toasted Bagel, Moth Queen, Messy the Messenger, This Girl, Tiffany Defense Girl, Princeton the Herb, Cloudy November, Trafficking Melodies, Pleasure Passport 3.0. If I haven't said it yet, and I just say it right now, get 20% off on adult toys when you enter discount code EVIL at pleasurepassport.shop. That's 20% off on adult toys when you enter discount code EVO at pleasurepassport.shop. Link will be in the show notes. Thank you guys for supporting the podcast. Join the live, the TikTok live, subscribe or hang out and watch the live and get your name shouted out. Check out the show notes for links to other podcasts that you heard in this episode. Send us a message of your favorite wrestling stories, questions, comments, or ratings, or requests at our email. It's from undertheapron@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, join the live, and being a huge part of this community. Tell your friends. Join us next time for more behind-the-scenes stories, movies, and TV show reviews when we come to you from Under the Apron. I'm Evil. I'm proud of you, and I love your faces. America, what a country.